Hey friends, welcome back to the Positive Voice Podcast. I am your host. I am Coach Chef Kim. For the past couple of weeks, we have been talking about core values and how to use them to inform your decisions as an entrepreneur. And today, I want to go a little deeper into that conversation to kind of show it to you in real life. So, last Friday, I was asked to do like just quick, brief little 4 question interview with the team from Hello 7, which is owned by the Rachel Rodgers, who wrote the book We Should All Be Millionaires. And there's a reason I was asked to do this, and it's because I am doing one of the biggest career things I've ever done. And every time I level up, I say that I've never done anything this big. It's scary. I'm jumping off, a cliff, whatever. And this time is no different. This is absolutely the largest level up. This one's a big one. And so what is happening is I joined the Hello 7 coaching certification program a couple of weeks ago. And in order to be accepted into this certification, there's an interview process. Like there's a full process. And so I went through it. And the coach that interviewed me recommended me for this conversation that was being had on social media. And so I was the first person. If you want to take a look at it, it is pinned to my profile at Coach Chef Kim on Instagram. You can take a look at it there. But the first 15 minutes, you'll see me. Okay, so let's talk about using your core values to help you make decisions as an entrepreneur, even when it's scary. And then, what is the process for helping you get through that? So, at this phase of my life, you all know I just had a birthday. And so that is my personal new year. And so I set my resolutions for the year, for what year 44 was going to look like for me. There's certain things I need to have in place by the time I turn 50. And so I've been counting backwards, setting up my 5-year plan, which we did on last week's podcast, my 3-year plan, my 1-year plan. And so to get to where I need to be in a year, it's a pretty drastic jump. I currently have the audacity to believe that I can make $1 million in a year. And the reason I feel that way is because who the fuck is going to stop me? Me. I'm the only person that can stop that, right? And so, side note, if you have kids in the car, my apologies. But we continue. My whole thought with this is, if the dream don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. And so I just have the audacity to believe that it doesn't have to take me 10 years to make my first million. I think I can make it in a year. And so that came to me in June of this year. It is now October, right? Which means we have some things to do to get there in order to make that million. And so I was like, well, who better to learn from than someone who's done it and literally wrote the book on it? When I went into this, it wasn't my intention, honestly, to join any program, specifically not this program. Maybe I was going to join the $97 a month program that Rachel Rodgers has. I was very prepared for that program. Joining the coaching certification was not on my radar at all. So when I did join, when they asked me why, the answer was simple. It was in full alignment with the version of me that I am becoming. I don't know that I have ever physically felt a desire to have something so much. I could feel it in my body. I could feel that there is a version of me that went through this coaching program, was highly successful, and it was literally the catalyst that kicked off the multi-million-dollar corporation of my dreams. And I had to start thinking as though I already had it, right? Like I literally couldn't let it go. Like I went to bed and I was sick about it. The next morning when I got up, one of my closest friends sent me a message. She sent me a text and she's like, "Girl, you were in my dream last night and you were doing this, this, and this." And I was like, "Oh, okay, universe, I hear you." What she described in her dream is not something she and I had discussed. She knew I was interested in this program, but that was it. She didn't have the intricate details of it. And one of the details of this program is that we have access to a financial workshop that we can teach. And that is what she saw in her dream. She saw me teaching a finance class, and she was like, "It doesn't make sense because you don't teach finances." And that's when I knew, right? So, like, when we ask for signs from the universe, like, "Can you show me a sign if this is what I'm supposed to be doing?" I'm like, don't play with me, right? Like, show me a sign that there's literally no way I can say this is out of alignment. And boom, there was. We had not discussed it. She didn't know this was a part of it. And I was like, okay, then. So we're doing this. And then there was literally a check in the mail. There was literally a check in the mail the next morning for the amount of the deposit. And so I was like, well, I guess we're doing this. And so that moment in time of like pulling out my credit card and putting in the information and signing up, it was a moment that is cemented in my memory. Um, it is a moment that I sat in because I know that moment was the start of a new journey of exploration for me. Then we came down to, how do we afford this? And so I had come up with a plan, and I was like, I need X amount of people in my current coaching program in order to pay for the coaching program I'm about to go through. And so I had a goal of 20 people, and 5 signed up. And I was like, okay, so obviously this is not where the money is supposed to come from. That is for those of you who are control freaks. I'm a control freak in recovery. For those of you who are control freaks, that probably just freaked you out that you created a plan. Or if you're a Virgo, you created a plan and then your plan didn't work, but now you're committed to something else, right? And so because I am a control freak in recovery, when the number of people I needed to join in order for me to be like, yeah, I 100% have the money I need to do this, I immediately said, I'm open to unexpected gifts from the universe. And I got a message that was like, hey, how much do you need to take care of this second payment? And I told the person, they immediately sent me a cash app for the amount. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, this is what we're doing. And so 2 payments, neither one of them neither one of them are tied to me working hard for it. Okay. Here's what I want you to understand about when you are working in alignment, when you're moving in alignment, when you're making decisions in alignment, you don't have to work hard. Not only do you not have to work hard, but the universe will 100% give you the desires of your heart in ways that you never imagined that it would or that it could. And so I was like, okay. For years I have been saying I'm open to unexpected gifts from the universe, and the universe continues to do this. So let's talk about the fear that comes along with it. It is terrifying to be in a program knowing that a particular dollar amount of money is not in my bank account at all times, and it still must be paid in order for me to get to the place that I'm going. And so, fear, while it has no place here, it cannot take up residency in my mind, heart, and soul. However, I am human. And so I understand that as we're moving through life and making decisions, that fear accompanies us, that fear is with us. And so I was reading a book last week that is called, oh man, now I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put it in the show notes. So I'm reading this book, and in the book, the author suggested that you make space for fear. So let's say we're going on a car ride. This is the easiest way I can explain it, which is the explanation from the book. So if we're going on a road trip, and it's me, it is my dreams, and then fear. And but in the book, it actually used creativity. It said it was the author, creativity, and fear. And the author is like, I am driving the vehicle. Creativity is in the front seat with me, and fear is in the back seat. Fear doesn't get to change the radio. Fear doesn't get to tell us which way we're going to go. We just made space for fear, but fear has no voice. And I said, wow, that's a really interesting take on what you can do with fear. There have been many times where I was fearless, like fear wasn't even invited to the party. It wasn't an option. And as you move through manifestation, as you move through abundant living, as you begin to experience more things, and I'm definitely vibrating on a higher frequency than I was a year ago, and things are just different. Like they just are. It's kind of difficult to explain, but energetically, things are different. And I am aware of that. I understand that the things that I see, the things that I hear, the things that I know as a knowing, everyone can't see, hear, or feel those things. And so as I'm moving into this realm, I know what comes along with this. I know the version of me that's coming. I know the version of me that I am evolving into. And when you can see the destination, the closer you get to it, the more things come into view, the more things you can see, but it doesn't mean the fear goes away, right? It's almost like if you're standing in line for a roller coaster where fear and excitement live in the same part of the brain, right? So if you're standing in line for a roller coaster and like you're okay standing in a line, but like the closer you get to it, right? You're like, oh my God, like I'm almost there. And then you're like in your little line, your little terminal part where you're like next. And it's like your turn to get on the ride. That's where we are, right? Like we've been in the station, we've been in this line, and now literally this week, it is my turn to get on the ride. And once this ride starts, can't get off. And so fear and excitement live in the same part of the brain. Even though you are next in line to get on the ride, you still have two options. Option number one, you literally walk into the roller coaster seat and walk right back up out that other side, and you keep going and you never get on the ride, which means you stood in line. It means you wasted time. It means you wasted energy. It means you allowed fear to get the best of you. It means that you didn't trust that you were going to be safe on the ride. Everything you needed was provided, but you do not trust that you're going to be safe on the ride. And so instead of taking what could be one of the most thrilling experiences of your life, you got into the car and walked out the other side. And now you'll never know what the ride was like. And when your friends come back renewed and reinvigorated and energized, and they're talking about how much fun they had and how incredible it was, the only thing you can handle, the only thing you can think about is the fact that you never got on the ride. At the end of my life, I don't want that to be my story. At the end of my life, I want to be able to say, I got my ass on that ride. I want to say that I got into the car, that I put my seatbelt on, that I put the, weight across my chest, that I held on for dear life, but that I took that ride. I want to be able to say that. And that's what this particular move in my life is about to be. I already know it. It's going to be that life-changing moment where everything that happened before it just led up to this moment. And as an entrepreneur, you have to, even not as an entrepreneur, it doesn't even matter. This applies across the board, right? There comes a time in your life when you have to make a decision on, is fear going to keep you from having the time of your life? Is fear going to keep you from moments of exhilaration? Is fear going to cripple you in a way that the ideas and dreams that you know are inside of you, you know the universe put them there, you know that God, angel, source, whatever you call it, you know that it imparted divine wisdom in you and it wants to co-create something beautiful with you, but you're too scared to do it. If you allow fear to win, not only does fear win, but that idea still needs to be birthed, and it will go be birthed somewhere else. Ideas will find willing vessels to bring them forward. When you experience an opportunity to co-create something bigger than you, take the opportunity. You can still get on a roller coaster and be scared. You can still put on your seatbelt and put on all the safety harnesses and go through the safety check and know that you are safe and that people are going to be there to support you, to cheer for you, like all the things. It's going to show up when you realize that even if fear accompanies you on the journey, it doesn't get to change the radio. It doesn't get to tell you which way to go. It's literally just in the backseat. And hell, in my case, it's just in the trunk, right? Fear and excitement live in the same place in your brain. Make a choice. Make a decision to go with the feeling of excitement rather than being debilitated by fear. If you sit and you journal, maybe scripting would be better for this as an exercise instead of journaling. Journaling, you're just kind of like pouring out your feelings and your thoughts. And scripting, you are literally writing what you want to happen and you write it repeatedly. So if you were a kid like me who talked a lot in school, you probably had to write, I will not talk in class 100 times on a piece of paper. I had to do it so frequently. That was scripting, where you had to write it over and over and over again so that it gets into your brain that you will not talk in class. Maybe you need to do some scripting for yourself that says, I am abundant. I am a success. I will change the bloodlines of generations of people I will probably never meet just by saying yes. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of acceptance. I am the chosen one for this season and time. I am in alignment. I am open to unexpected gifts from the universe. Maybe you need to do some scripting and write it out over and over and over again for day after day after day after day until you get it into your soul and get it into your heart and get it into your system that you fully understand that this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is where you're supposed to be. And that if you allow fear to take over, the creativity, the ideas, the energy that comes from that will absolutely go find somewhere else to live and take up residency where it is wanted, where it is needed, and where it is loved. And if I can leave you with this last analogy, if you were dealing with someone who told you they didn't believe in you, told you you were a failure, told you your dreams and your ideas weren't valid, told you that you'll never be anything, told you that this was a fool's errand, told you that it doesn't matter what you do, how much you sacrifice, how much you study, you'll never be good enough. Would you be friends with that person? Would you continue to stay and listen to this person tear you down every single time you see them? The answer is probably no, but I beg to differ. Because if that's what you do to yourself, if how you talk to yourself resembles the friend you would get rid of in a heartbeat, because why are you talking to me like that? Beloved, my question for you is, why are you talking to you like that? And so when we think about fear and we think about those things that scare us, I want you to remember that fear and excitement live in the same part of the brain. And you have the opportunity to choose excitement over fear. You have the opportunity to do it afraid. You have the opportunity to take the leap. And if you take nothing else from this particular episode, the thing I want you to walk away with is there's a future version of you waiting on you to do this. Until next time, stay sweet, friends.